Okay, this video is a beginner's guide to archery using a compound bow. I'm going to take 3 shots and then I'll get into all the finer details after I've taken the shots. Take me, just bear with me. It might take a couple minutes here. But anyway, I'm using a compound bow put out by BEAR. It's called the Outbreak. And this is a mid-range compound bow. Yeah, I think it was $350. And I'll go into some more details about the bow and everything else. Okay, let me take 3 shots. Give me a minute here to do that. And then I'll go into the finer details for beginners. If you're just buying a bow or you just bought a new bow, there's some very important things that the advanced archery guys on YouTube are leaving out. There's a lot of good videos, but they're very experienced people, archers, and they leave out a lot of the finer details for somebody that's just buying a new bow or they're a beginner. So anyway, let me put the camera down for a minute and shoot off 3 rounds here. Okay, just shot off 1 round. Doing my second here. Second shot. I've only done 2 rounds today. I haven't really practiced. I was shooting pretty good after I had practiced a while yesterday, but don't expect anything great here. Okay, there's 3 rounds. Now we're going to walk up to the target. I was shooting at 90 feet, or the 30-yard range. There's my 20-yard range, 60 feet there. So anyway, I haven't been practicing in like 6 months, and I just started a couple days ago. There's my target. So I need a lot of practice. I'm not doing this to show you any great shots or anything. Let me hang up my bow. I usually just put a bungee cord up and I hang my bow right like above ground. Nice, quick and easy, so when I get to the target, that's taken care of. Here's my 3 shots. One's a bullseye, almost perfect. And the other 2 are high. I was shooting really good yesterday. But like I said, I haven't been practicing today. I only shot 6 arrows so far. I'm not doing this to try to impress you with my shooting. But then again, that's from 90 feet. That's my furthest sight on this bow, on this compound bow. Okay, and like I say, it's by BEAR, and you got 3 ranges on there, which I'm going to go into these details because a lot of people buy new bows. They go out and spend, the arrows themselves can run you $10 a piece, these carbon arrows. So you don't want to make some expensive mistakes. And I'm going to pull out my specifics on what you want to do as soon as you buy your bow. And then we got arrow tips, which these arrows, you have inserts. You're going to have to make your own arrows. That's another thing. You're not going to get them out of the box. They don't have arrows on them, or tips, I should say. You're going to have to cut them to length, put these inserts in it, and then you can put in, field points, or they just screw in to those inserts, or your razor tips. I would recommend getting an Allen wrench because you're going to have to make a lot of adjustments. Get a small little thing like this because I think there's at least three different Allen wrench sizes to make the adjustments on the compound bow. Okay, I'm going to just read off my notes here. Just for the beginner, experienced guys know this, and they tend to leave that out of their videos. So that's why I decided to do this video, because these things are very important. They could be very costly if you don't do these. As soon as you get your bow at a sporting goods store or wherever, have them determine your draw length. That's your length of your arm. Because each bow from the factory just comes preset. So you have to have that done first. Very first thing, as soon as it's out of the box. Then have them readjust the draw length on the bow. Your strings and everything have to be adjusted for your draw length. Okay? Have them adjust the first sight. They normally do that, the first sight. That's 10 yards. And you might come with, mine came with 3 sights, 10 yard, 20 yard, and 30 yard, which is 90 feet. And they'll usually do the first sight for you. But that's a ballpark. That's not set for you. It's just so you can start to hit the target right as soon as you use the bow. But you're going to have to make adjustments, vertical and horizontal adjustments. I'm not going to get into that. It's going to tell you with your manual how to do that. Okay, and you have to sight those for all 3 sights, the 10, 20, and 30 yard. Okay, then I don't think mine came with the biscuit wisket. That's what holds your arrow in place, the biscuit wisket. I definitely like that because it'll hold it in place when you're walking around and everything else. And there's all different types. That's up to the individual, but that's the one I have on there. And then I would recommend them the one that from BEAR, the peep sight on the string. Okay, that's the thing you're going to be looking through, which is right here. When you draw it out, you're going to be looking through that down through your sights there. And the one that came with the factory out of the box, this peep sight was real chintzy, and when I drew it back, it wasn't perfectly aligned with my 10, 20, and 30 yard sights down there. So I had them put on a better sight. I'm surprised, BEAR is a good compound bow, but the ones they came with, this one at least, it wasn't aligned properly. It was on an angle when I drew it back, and it wasn't a very good peep sight. So that's another thing you want them to do when you buy it at the sporting goods store. Put on a new peep sight, and there's different types. You can, it's up to you. And then the draw weight. Okay, these compound bows can be set, this is a double cam, for how much poundage or how much force you have to pull back, to get the arrow ready to shoot. And I think it was set for around 50 pounds, and you want to set that for what you're comfortable with, because you really have to build up your muscles in your arms, your shoulders, your chest area until you've practiced every day for, I'd say, a couple of weeks, those muscles aren't going to be really in tune. So you don't want a heavy draw weight, in other words. I think I have mine set around 45 pounds. And with the compound bow, that's plenty. I mean, it's shooting an arrow, I think, at close to 300 miles an hour at just 45 pounds. It's not like a standard bow. I've used standard bows with 80-pound draw weight, and they won't, propel an arrow at 300 miles an hour. So you don't need a super heavy, but you basically, you don't want to be stressed out trying to pull back the arrow. And then you can always have it readjusted for heavier and heavier draw weights. But don't overdo it. Don't think you need, tons of draw weight power with a compound bow. They're super powerful. So I won't get into, you're going to have to, out of the box, these arrows, carbon arrows. You can only use carbon arrows. These compound bows are super powerful. You'll bust them. You could get hurt if you're using a wooden arrow. You have to use compound arrows, carbon arrows, and then cut them to length, because they're going to tell you your draw length, and you're going to make your own. You're going to put in, after you cut them to length and put in your inserts, glued in your inserts. There's a special glue, and that might sound involved. It isn't. But this is instant arrow glue. You're going to be spreading that on your inserts, putting it into the end, and then that's what you screw your field tips and everything else in. Okay, this is just a short video, a beginner's guide. That's all it is. You don't want to put your target too high above the ground. I think I got mine maybe 8 inches above the ground, because I started off at about 3 foot above the ground when I hadn't been practicing in like 6 months, and one of the arrows missed, and you won't believe it wound up even at that, from 90 feet, it still wound up almost 100 yards. It went right through all those trees and landed way behind my trailer there. I couldn't believe it. It took me 2 days to find it. But that's the kind of power you're dealing with these compound bows. Even a 45-pound draw, 90 feet, and it still wound up 100 yards behind the target. So try to keep your target low, not on the ground, because you also don't want to be breaking these arrows. They're $10 a piece. But don't run it too high either. So anyway, there was a lot to get into. I don't want to discourage anyone, but the sighting of everything is about your sighting of your 3 ranges, 10, 20, and 30-yard ranges. And I'm not going to get into all those details either. There's a lot of good YouTubers out there, a lot of good videos on how to sight your compound bow. So anyway, I hope that was of some use. And this is Eagle Eric, signing off.